All right, next video. So now I'm down. We're still Rowlett Station. I don't even think I drove a half a mile. The property the ABT owns is up along 31 West. That's behind. That's the noise you see here, or here. Up there, you could be split rail fencing. All the way down here, you put split rail fencing here. You can create a pull-off, work with KDOT. Also, you've got the fairgrounds right across the street. So I don't know if they would work with you or not in terms of helping to, I don't know, allow some parking, like right along this entrance side here. That'd be kind of cool. Anyway, we're gonna walk down. So this piece of property that I'm on, you really can't tell other than the fact it's got signage and one of those ubiquitous Texas monuments here. But this is another one of those spots that could be a great pull-off and developed as part of the Rowlett Station enhancement project. You put a flagpole out here. You put a Terry's Texas Ranger flag out here. At the flagpole up at the other area, you have a 30-second Indiana one done. You can see here the sign is getting really gooped. This would not take a lot to clean, but it's going to take some to clean. So now we are way down here. Okay, so I was here before, pulled out, drove down. This could all be split rail fence, right? How do you raise money for that? Ask for donations, have sponsors. That's what they did at Perryville. Somewhere along the way at Perryville, I think I owned something like 8 rails. So, and one day I want to take them home. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so now we're down here at this particular area. Again, you need to create a pull-off, work with KDOT or work with the fairgrounds across the street, create a pull-off, create an experience here. Gotta be careful though crossing that street, so probably a pull-off here would be ideal. This is pretty hard ground. As a matter of fact, it almost looks like an old lane. So this actually would probably work pretty well. You can create a pull-off and a couple of parking spots right here. All right, so again, lost access to all this. Now what you could do too is you could tie these two things together. You work this, clean up the trail system, create a trail that connects down to here, and then get permission, get an easement from the property owners that are right here. And you can see it's along the railroad. It's mostly just cut grass, not like lawn, but just cut. Get an easement and create a trail that connects these two together. People could park here, people could park there, and they could just do it all at one time. So there you have that. Now to get to the other part that I referenced, the part that's accessed, you gotta go into Rowlett's, the little village of Rowlett Station, and work your way around. And this is a very narrow little road that comes out. Rush Island Bend Road, caution, single lane, and you can pull all the way out here. So we'll do that. Next video will be from there, from this area. We'll go out there next. Anyway, let's go down to the monument. So the fighting on December 17th, I'm going to get some of this wrong. It's been a little while since I've pulled it out together, but you've got 4 companies. Oh boy, is that right? Yeah, 4 companies of the 32nd in Indiana. They're on this side of the river, and they're protecting the bridge, and they're protecting the pontoon builders down along the Green River from our first video location. And so they're on this side of the river. Thomas Hyman's mostly Arkansas Brigade, Arkansans, will come up from the south, and they're going to press up against this area. And most of the fighting is done by Terry's Texas Rangers on the Confederate side, but the 1st and 2nd Arkansas will get into it a little bit later in the fighting. Terry's Texas Rangers will start launching mounted assaults against these Germans, and the fighting starts to break out. And this is on both sides of the road. This is not just on this side of the road. It's on both sides of the road here, and a little bit on that side of the railroad as well. The Germans that are on the north side of the river will hear this fighting, and they will rush across the pontoon bridge, and they will come up, they'll climb up the hill on the old Louisville and Nashville turnpike and come join their brethren. In this case, I guess that word is appropriate since they're German. They'll join their brethren in the fighting. I don't think there's not a map here. Unfortunately, there's a map in the interpretive panels in the middle of that damn field to the north of me, which is a mess, and nobody's going to walk through it. All right, which is unfortunate. Okay, so we're on the edge here. Terry's boys will move across from the side, other side of the railroad. The railroad's right there. Move across the other side of the railroad and just push up against these guys, right? Again, launching multiple assaults. We'll start to push the Germans back a little bit before their reinforcements will come up. And then the Germans also will form square to fight off these mounted charges. And they're pretty darn successful in that aspect. A couple of German companies will counterattack on the other side of the road come around the high ground and kind of start to push back. And then later in the fighting, the 1st and 2nd Arkansas will get involved a little bit, but not too much, to be blatantly honest with you. I think that's it I want to cover for Rowlett Station. I just suggest getting Michael Peake's book, German Sons, Rowlett Station, something like that. So here's one of those lovely, ubiquitous Texas monuments, right? They're pretty much everywhere, which is kind of cool. As a matter of fact, I do believe Franklin has one of these now. I do believe. There was a recent podcast where they were talking about that, getting a Texas monument. I assume it's one of these because it's a newer one. This one was just put up in 2008, so it's not been here too long. Needs a little cleaning, and then the letters need a little bit more black inside of them because it's a little hard to read. Anyway, let's see. Remembers the valor and devotion of his sons who served with distinction in Kentucky battlefields during the Civil War. This was Terry's Texas Rangers at Houston, Texas during August and September 1861. Benjamin Franklin Terry and Thomas S. Lubbock, Texas, right? Organized cavalry regiment that became the storied 8th Texas, led by Terry, a Russellville, Kentucky native. Russellville's not terribly far from here. An hour, if that. Who was a Texas planner and a member of the State Secession Convention. The unit was known as Terry's Texas Rangers. On December 17th, 1861, the Rangers a charging regiment, which is interesting. They made sure they put that in there. A charging regiment engaged Union troops of the 32nd Volunteer Infantry under Lieutenant Colonel Henry von Trabe in the Battle of Rowlett Station. So where's August Willig? He's up in town actually having a meeting with his divisional commander. So Willig himself will get on the battlefield later in the day, later in the action, but not right away. Anyway, several exchanges here, several charges that are taking place all through this land, but really pushing to the north where the other property is, farther to the north. As a matter of fact, I think the wood line, let me zoom in here a little bit. Okay. That wood line there, let me get my finger back out. All right, I think that wood line there is the south edge of the property up there. So you could create a connecting trail between the two locations, and get easements from these fine homeowners. Just put the trail on the railroad, far enough away to be safe, obviously, but put the trail on the railroad, connect these two positions together. I don't think that would be that difficult to do. Maybe it is, I don't know. To me, it seems to be pretty simple. Backside here's the companies and where they're from. Company A from McLennan and surrounding counties. Company B, Brazoria and Matagorda. Company C, Gonzales and surrounding counties. Bastrop, Gonzales, Fayette, Behar, and Goliad. Those names sound familiar, don't they? Fort Bend County, so it goes on. But this needs work. Try to plant some things here, which is really cool, but then you've got some ivy growing up. You need to get rid of that. So that needs to go a little bit as well. But anyway, right here along the road, right? Here's Highway 31 West right out there. So it'd be really cool, again, if you make this a spot where people could actually visit. It's a little difficult. I pulled into the grass, as you can see. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do my 3-point. Got my buddy friend, the dog there. I got my 3-point turnaround that I'll have to do so I can pull back out on 31. Here's one of the interpretive panels. It's getting a little faded. Actually, for this one being in the direct sun, it's not that faded, which is great. But it's filthy as all get out. It needs a good cleaning. And is this a cover? Nope, that's the original. It doesn't have a plastic cover over it. So you have to replace that whole panel. That's another part of the politics. Evidently, the person who also owns the property up there that no longer allowed to access, evidently has the electronic files for all these signs. And I've been told they won't share them, which is most unfortunate. And again, I am just being open and honest, because it's ridiculous to do this to the tourists, really do this to the town, because this could be a more of a major attraction. I was in the museum earlier today. The young lady there, she was super helpful, which was great. Came across some cool stuff in there. But like 25% of the museum, maybe a little bit less, is all Civil War related stuff, whether it's Buckner and Wood. So Munfordville is the home for Simon Bolivar Buckner. It's also the home of Thomas J. Wood, Chickamauga would. And those guys were boyhood friends. Like, they've got copies of letters those two guys wrote each other, like in the 1840s. Evidently, Buckner would spend some time at the Wood home because Buckner's house was outside of town. But as boys, they would spend time together because Buckner would go to the local school, and so they'd spend time at the Wood house and stay at the Wood house sometimes. So those two are friends. So they got some stuff there. They got a little bit on Buckner's son, Junior, who was killed at Okinawa in 1945, but who also, which I don't know if a lot of people realize, did some stints up in the Aleutians in 1942, 1943. So anyway, so we'll sign off here. We'll film another video from our next stop.